You've probably seen this, right? You're scrolling online and you come across music that promises to do way more than just entertain. We're talking music that claims it can dial down your anxiety, sharpen your focus, maybe even heal you. It's a massive trend, and today we are going to get into what it's all about. So, what's the big difference here? Well, it really all boils down to one thing: the tuning. Almost all the music you hear on the radio or Spotify is tuned to a standard of 440 hertz. But this healing music, it's different. It's tuned to very specific alternative frequencies, the most famous one being 432 hertz, or this whole other set of tones called the Solfeggio Frequencies. So here's our roadmap. We're going to explore what these frequencies even are, dig into where these ideas came from, look at all the wild benefits they promise, and then, this is the important part, we're going to see what the science actually has to say about it all. Okay, let's kick things off with the most popular of these frequencies. You see, 440 hertz became the global standard for pretty practical reasons, making sure an orchestra in New York sounds just like one in Tokyo. But the folks who are all in on 432 hertz believe we lost something really important when we did that. They argue this slightly lower frequency just sounds more natural, more soothing to us. And this quote, man, it really gets to the heart of it, right? The whole idea is that 432 hertz is somehow more in sync with the universe itself, that it resonates with patterns in nature. The feeling it's supposed to give you is this deep sense of calm, like you're more connected to the world. But this whole idea isn't new at all, not by a long shot. The belief that certain sounds have some kind of special, almost sacred power is actually rooted in some pretty ancient traditions. And the history here is kind of wild. It connects all these fascinating dots. It starts way back with ancient Gregorian and Sanskrit chants, which were built around specific tones that were thought to have real spiritual power. Then, you fast forward to the 1970s, and a researcher, Dr. Joseph Puleo, claims he rediscovered this original six-tone solfeggio scale, linking it to the Earth's own scientifically measured frequency. Okay, so what are these solfeggio frequencies exactly? Well, they're a specific set of musical notes, and each one is believed to have a unique healing property. The core theory is that these tones are in harmony with the Earth's electromagnetic heartbeat, that 8 hertz thing called the Schumann resonance. Think of it like this. If you strike a tuning fork, another tuning fork with the same frequency across the room will start to vibrate on its own. The idea is that our bodies do the same exact thing with these special sound frequencies. All right, so this is where we get to the really big promises. What are these frequencies actually supposed to do for you? Instead of just giving you a list, let's check out a personal story from a writer named Lauren Sikorsky. She decided to go all in and listen to nothing but solfeggio frequencies for a whole week. So day one, she kicks off her experiment with 963 hertz. This is the frequency that's supposed to be linked to the crown chakra. And she said at first, she felt this kind of slight pressure around her head. But that feeling pretty quickly faded and was replaced by something else. Her busy mind started to quiet down. She felt this new sense of clarity and connection that she said had been missing for a while. Okay, but let's jump ahead to day 6. This is where things got really interesting for her. This was the day for 417 hertz, which is tied to the sacral chakra and is all about facilitating change. And Lauren described this as the absolute standout moment of her entire experiment. This was the turning point that totally changed her mind about the music's power. I mean, listen to her words. She says she felt an instant release, like a huge weight was just lifted. And that feeling of relief, it actually stuck around. The next morning, the negativity she'd been struggling with was gone. For her, this was it. This was the proof. And her story taps into this whole world of claimed benefits. Each frequency is supposed to do something different. You've got 396 hertz for getting rid of guilt and fear, 528 hertz, they call that one the miracle tone for stress, 639 hertz for relationships, and 852 hertz for waking up your intuition. The list goes on. Okay, so we've heard the stories, the history, but now we gotta hit the brakes a little. Personal experiences are one thing, but that brings us to the big critical question. What does the science say? And what about the very real skepticism around all these claims? So yeah, after hearing all that, you have to ask the million-dollar question. Beyond how it makes someone feel, is there any hard evidence that these specific frequencies have a unique, measurable healing effect on us? And this quote from a Reddit discussion just lays out the skeptical view perfectly. The argument is, look, when you actually test these special frequencies in a lab, They don't do anything more special than just listening to plain old white noise or any other relaxing sound. However, it's not quite that black and white. While there's definitely no giant pile of proof, there are some smaller, pretty intriguing studies out there. For instance, one Italian study found that 432 hertz music really did slow people's heart rates more than 440 hertz. A study in Japan found 528 hertz music cut down on stress markers. And get this, another study found it could even protect cells from alcohol damage in a lab and help them live about 20% longer. So, if the science isn't totally there, but people are feeling real things, what's going on? Well, the most common scientific explanation is something you've definitely heard of, the placebo effect. Our minds are incredibly powerful. If you truly, deeply believe that a sound is healing you, your body can actually create a real, positive response all on its own. So where does that leave us? How are we supposed to think about these healing frequencies when the evidence is so all over the place? This chart just lays out the two camps perfectly. On one side, you have people saying, hey, my own experience is all the proof I need. I feel better, and that's what matters. But on the other side, skeptics are saying, whoa, hold on. Extraordinary claims need extraordinary proof, and for them, that proof just isn't there yet. So the bottom line is this. The scientific community, for the most part, is still waiting for more solid, large-scale proof. But at the same time, you just can't ignore the millions of people who, like Lauren, feel a genuine, profound, and positive change in their lives from listening to this music. And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. Whether the magic comes from ancient cosmic vibrations or from the incredible power of your own mind and belief, if listening to this music makes you feel calmer, more focused, and less stressed, does the reason it works really matter in the end?